In fact, Chuck Connors hated him more than anyone else. It was birth of Chuck Connors. Kevin Joseph. Chuck Connors was born on April 10, 1921, in Brooklyn, New York, to Irish immigrants. He grew up in a working-class neighborhood during the Great Depression and learned early on how important it is to keep going, even when things get tough. He had a tall, athletic build and was naturally good at sports, which pushed him into a future that not many people could have imagined. Connors did things that most people could only dream of before Hollywood ever heard of him. He was one of the few players in American history to have played in both Major League Baseball and the National Basketball Association. He was very skilled, disciplined, and versatile, as shown by the fact that he played basketball for the Boston Celtics and baseball for the Chicago Cubs. It was in the entertainment business, though, that Chuck Connors really became well known. When Connors switched from sports to acting in the early 1950s, he brought a unique mix of tough masculinity and friendly warmth to the big screen. People could quickly recognize him because he was 6 feet 6 inches tall, had a square jawline, and had eyes that looked right through you. But it was his charm and honesty that kept people watching. In 1958, he played Lucas McCain in the TV western The Rifleman, which became his most famous part. In this popular show, which ran for 5 seasons until 1963, Connors played a rancher who had lost his wife and was raising his young son, who was played by Johnny Crawford, in the backwoods town of North Fork. The Rifleman became a beloved classic because of Connors' portrayal of McCain as a man with strong morals, unwavering loyalty to his family, and exceptional shooting skills. Connors had a long and successful career in both movies and TV shows, not just his most famous part, in 1957's Old Yeller. He played the strict but caring father in the beloved Disney classic, 1973's Soylent Green, a thought-provoking future thriller, and 1982's Airplane 2, the sequel, showed a lighter, funnier side of him. A lot of TV shows had him as a guest star, showing that he could easily switch between styles, from westerns and dramas to comedies and action shows. For his powerful and memorable part in the groundbreaking 1977 TV miniseries Roots, Chuck Connors was nominated for an Emmy. This miniseries, which told the story of an African-American family's fight from slavery to freedom through several generations, was a landmark production in the history of American television. Captain Davies, played by Connors, was a part in the series that let him show his dramatic range beyond the tough, stoic Western or sportsman roles he was usually associated with. The Television Academy gave him an award for his work. Getting him nominated for an Emmy was a big deal in his long career, because it showed how skilled and versatile he was as an actor. The nomination showed that Connors can engage audiences not only through her physical presence, but also through emotional depth and complex character work, which helped Roots get so much praise and have such an effect on culture. Besides Roots, Chuck Connors had a long and successful career on TV, appearing in a lot of famous anthology and drama shows that showed he could work in a variety of genres and formats. In his early TV roles, he was on The Loretta Young Show, a prestigious anthology show led by the famous actress Loretta Young. The show was known for its high-quality, stand-alone episodes with moral and emotional stories. Connors got to play a lot of different roles and work with some of the best actors of the time. During the golden age of TV, his role on this show helped him become known as a dependable and interesting TV actor. Connors also featured on Four Star Playhouse, a popular anthology show in the 1950s that was created by and starred famous people like Dick Powell and Charles Boyer. The show was known for having a rotating cast and a wide range of plots, which gave Connors the chance to try out different parts and acting styles. Connors joined a respected group of actors who were becoming popular in early TV dramas when he joined Star Playhouse. This added to his reputation in the entertainment business. Chuck Connors also had parts in GE Theater, a well-known anthology show put on by General Electric and led by Ronald Reagan before he ran for office. The GE Theater was known for putting on serious plays that were often based on real events or social problems. When Connor went on this show, he was able to show that he could tell complex stories in shorter forms, which made him appealing to people who liked watching thoughtful, often inspiring TV programs. His work here showed that he was able to easily switch between lead parts in series and guest roles in anthology dramas. Connors also found a place in the world of superheroes through his work on Superman, the 1950s TV show that brought the famous comic book character to life. Even though this was different from his usual Western and sports parts, his appearance on Superman showed how versatile he was and how willing he was to try new types of TV shows. Being in such a culturally important show made him more appealing to a wide range of people and brought him to the attention of younger fans of adventure and fantasy shows. During his time on TV, Chuck Connors showed a lot of versatility by appearing in a wide range of shows with different styles and forms. His body of work, which included anthology dramas, historical miniseries, and even superhero adventures, showed that he was devoted to his job and eager to push himself in every part he played and able to leave a lasting impression. Outside of acting, Chuck Connors was known as a very nice, kind, and loyal fan. He was truly thankful for the people who helped him with his work, and he often made time to meet them, sign pictures, and talk with them about his feelings. The fact that he stayed friends with co-stars and co-workers for life showed how loyal and kind he was. It was also known that Connors cared deeply about helping others and often took part in charity events and supported causes that were important to him. Chuck Connors' personal life was just as busy as his work life. He was married 3 times, and each one had its own story and memories. His first marriage was to Elizabeth Jane Riddle Connors. It started in a very American and charming way. In the late 1940s, they met at one of Connors' baseball games. At the time, he was still trying to break into acting while also pursuing his sports goals. Their relationship grew as they went to the ball game, where the noise of the bats hitting the ball and the cheers of the crowd set the mood. They said their vows to each other on October 1, 1948, marking the start of an important period in Connors' life. They raised 4 boys together: Michael, Jeffrey, Stephen, and Kevin. Having them around gave the family a sense of stability, while Connors made the move from professional sports to the unpredictable world of Hollywood. Even though the marriage ended in the end, Connors learned about the good and bad parts of being a dad during this time, and his kids stayed a big part of his life. They got married for the second time in 1963 in the Western action movie Geronimo with Kamala Devi, who is Indian, the following year. They had great chemistry on screen in that movie, and it seemed to carry over into real life, too. They started dating, and the press took notice. Kamala Devi wasn't just a guest star for a short time. She went on to work with Connors in a number of later projects, such as the TV show Branded, the TV movie Broken Saber, and the action show Cowboy in Africa. They worked together on projects and spent time together in their personal lives. making them something of a Hollywood team during this time. For 10 years, they were married and had to deal with the demands of filming TV shows, shooting on location, and making public visits. But even though they worked together on projects and respected each other, they broke up in 1973. Their divorce marked the end of an important time in Connors' life, both on and off film. Connors' third and final marriage started in 1977, but the plans for it were made a few years before, when the great 1973 science fiction movie Soylent Green was being filmed. Connors met actress Faith Quabius on that set. She was in the ensemble group with Charlton Heston and Lee Taylor Young. Over the next few years, their initial acquaintance turned into a deeper relationship that led to marriage. Connors felt like he had new friends after he found Faith. And for a while, it looked like this union could give him the long-term security he was looking for. However, just like his other weddings, this one had its problems. The couple broke up in 1979, only 2 years after getting married. Finishing up their split, even though it was short, their marriage happened during a time when Connors was already a big name on TV, but still looking for long-lasting happiness in his personal life. A man named Chuck Connors was known for being very tall, both on and off the screen. He could take or leave a lot of people in Hollywood. He was sure of himself, aggressive, and walked with the swagger of someone who had played professional sports before becoming an actor. But out of all the stars, directors, and people in the business he met, Gregory Peck seemed to bother him the most. The anger began while the movie, The Big Country, 1958, was being made. The big Western drama directed by William Wyler. For Connors, the movie seemed like a dream come true. A-list stars were in it: Gregory Peck, Gene Simmons, Charlton Heston, and Burl Ives, and promised a lot of rough action, moral drama, and scenery of the Wild West. As Buck Hennessy, a sneering, violent troublemaker from a backwoods clan, Connors was cast. This was the kind of part that let him show off his athleticism and intimidating presence. But as soon as shooting started, Connors learned that it wasn't easy to work with Gregory Peck. Peck was already one of Hollywood's most respected leading men, and he walked with an old-fashioned air of authority and quiet confidence that could come off as condescending. Peck was very careful, methodical, and dedicated to giving his character, James McKay, an understated courage. Connors' style was more direct and lively, so this careful pace made it seem like Peck was slowing things down for no reason or looking down on the supporting cast. There were also rumors in the crew that Peck didn't think much of Connors as an actor and saw him more as an athlete who turned to acting than a real actor. Whether those comments were made by Peck himself or were overstated by people on the set, they made Connors angry. And Chuck Connors wasn't the type of person to take an insult in silence. They didn't get along with each other in other ways either. Connors was rude and loud, and he liked to joke around with the cast and crew between takes. He would often tease people in a nice but loud way. Peck, on the other hand, was quiet and efficient, and he expected others to be the same way. Connors thought Peck's distance meant he was proud. Peck probably thought that Connors wasn't following the rules. As if their real-life tension wasn't enough, the fact that their characters were on opposite sides of the movie's main fight made it even worse. Some of the movie's tense scenes, especially the ones where Buck Hennessy and McKay get physical, Connors is said to have given his performances extra force, maybe even more than was strictly required. Some players liked how real it felt, but Peck, who is known for having a controlled style, didn't like it as much. You could always count on Peck as an actor to hit his goals, and he expected others to do the same. There were times when Connors liked to break the rules to see what he could get away with. By the time shooting was over, Connors had grown to dislike Peck in a way that went beyond being annoyed at work. When asked about the To Kill a Mockingbird star in later interviews and talks with friends, Connors didn't hold back. People who knew him well said that he told Peck in private that he thought Peck was the most arrogant man he had ever met in Hollywood, and that he hated him more than anyone else he'd worked with. There was no way he would have made a public scene during production. In a strange twist, The Big Country became a classic, and many reviewers said that Connors's performance was one of the best parts of the movie. His rough, unpredictable energy was a great contrast to Peck's calm, stately hero. The tension between the two guys may have been real, but it made for some of the most memorable scenes in the movie. If anything, the fight made the movie more realistic by accident. But for Chuck Connors, that didn't take away the bad taste the event left him with. Peck would often roll his eyes or change the subject when his name was brought up, even decades later. Some grudges are forgotten over time. It looks like this one stayed as sharp as a knife. After a brave fight with lung cancer, Chuck Connors died on November 10, 1992. There will be a lot of people who will miss him after he died, because they admired his many talents as an athlete and an actor. Connors spent his last days at Los Angeles' Cedars Sinai Medical Center, is a well-known hospital that treats many famous people from the entertainment business. The doctors and nurses at Cedars Sinai took good care of him and made him feel better as he fought this terrible disease. Despite all the work that was done to treat and handle his condition, it ended in death. Lung cancer, which killed Connor, is a terrible disease that is often linked to smoking. It is one of the main reasons people die from cancer around the world. The sickness that Connors had made me very aware of how terrible these illnesses can be, even for people who are normally strong and resilient. Many people who looked up to him saw in his death a lesson of how short life is and how important health is, even for people who seem to be invincible on screen or in sports. After he died, Chuck Connors was buried at the San Fernando Mission Cemetery, which is a famous and peaceful place to rest. In the San Fernando Valley, also known as the Fernando Valley area of Los Angeles. Some famous people from the entertainment industry and the local community are buried in this graveyard, which is, well, known for it. The quiet grounds and well-kept landscaping are a perfect tribute to Connor's life and the effect he had on both his fans and his co-workers. The burial at San Fernando Mission Cemetery will keep Chuck Connors' memory alive in a quiet, dignified place where people can pay their respects and think about the things he did in his life to people who knew him or respected his work from afar. The cemetery is a lasting memorial to a man who successfully brought together the worlds of sports and Hollywood. He left behind a legacy that is still felt today, decades after he died.